Hello, dear friends. It's Carly, and welcome to another timeless reading. What is opening up for you in the next 6 months? Feel free to skip ahead to the timestamps in the description for whichever of the readings is calling most to you. And with that, we're going to dive right into getting our piles set up. So we'll start with this Manifesting Your Greatness deck. And we'll pick a couple for each. So by timeless reading, it just means that the next 6 months could be wherever you are, opening up into the future endlessly. And the next deck is our Moonology deck. This one has a couple for us. We're also going to take 2 of these. I really do wish I could talk while I did that, but I haven't figured out that trick yet. When I'm picking cards, I'm letting my hands think, and I can't talk and let my hands think at the same time. Okay, so we have our 3 piles. With that, we will clean this up and get into reading number 1, the King of Swords. What is opening up for you in the next 6 months? All right, so King of Swords will begin with your oracle cards answering the question, what is opening up in the next 6 months? Leave room for whimsy. I love that with the King of Swords. That's such a good combo. Explore your depths. He's got his little fishing pole, swimming in his own self. Oh yeah, oh yeah. A couple of Moonology cards here. A new start is coming. New moon. Adjustments are required. 3rd quarter moon. And we'll put these down here. Okay, so our tarot, we have 5 of Pentacles. The Queen of Swords to go with our King of Swords. You're definitely onto something here. And last but not least, the 3 of Pentacles. So, pile number 1, King of Swords. What is opening up for you in the next 6 months? So very clearly we have a new start of some kind coming, so it makes sense that adjustments are required. We can't begin something new and continue with our old ways all at the same time. I love the Queen and King of Swords, where swords represent our intellect, our thoughts, our thinking mind, and that what is opening up to you is a new thinking mind, a new mindset, maybe a new perspective on, you see both of them are on really high perches looking at the biggest picture possible, or possibly the deepest picture possible. Explore your depths and leave room for whimsy. I love that with the King and Queen of Swords, because you see them, they look very serious. These are not party hardy kind of cards, and yet here we have leave room for whimsy. And I do wonder how much this has to do with this adjustment that's required. If possibly a little bit more sense of humor is part of the adjustment, part of the release of attachment to having it all figured out. Because that's ultimately the King and Queen of Swords. They don't have all the answers. They know how to think. You don't have to have all the answers to know how to think through a problem when you find one. And the highest frequency of this energy that I'm feeling is that there isn't always a problem that you need to be thinking about solving, and that part of that may also be the adjustment that's required as far as the new way to use your mind, as far as applying that thinking mind, that powerful resource when you need it to the problem that you need it for. And then when the problem has passed or when the solution has been found, to come back and root into whimsy. And that's where I'm feeling this piece coming in, the Three of Pentacles, the collaboration that this card signals as far as what is opening up for you in the next 6 months. I would expect more collaborators, more people on your team who maybe it's their job to remind you of whimsy, you know? Like, I feel like I need that sometimes, as far as you can get so deep down in your depths and all the things, all the feelings. And it can be really helpful to have people who can pull you back to the surface, who can make you laugh, who can, you know, really be there to ground you back into the earth energy, the here and now, as far as, yes, we need to go swimming inside of ourselves. Yes, we need to go spend some time alone on our perch so that we can look at our bigger picture. But then coming back to play with others is kind of the whole point of all of it. It's like being able to connect with not just any others, mind you, the ones who make your heart sing, the ones who feel fun to get to collaborate with, not, oh gosh, I gotta go see what's her face today. Like, I hope she doesn't talk about that thing that she complained about the last 3 times. Like, she's so awful every time. Like, that's not the kind of collaboration I'm talking about. Like, and that's not the highest frequency of this card. This is about different people. Like, I mean, every single person on the planet is unique. And so each unique person bringing to the table their unique skill set and harmonizing and synergizing what's possible when you have different skill sets on the table. You know, when everybody's good at the same exact thing, you may be really talented in that one area, but not have a whole lot of breadth or depth to your skill set around what if an unknown problem pops up, you know, like, especially when you're facing the unknown, that can be a really scary thing to think about and to consider. And possibly this goes back to the adjustments that are required to get us to this new mindset here, where you know, we can get lost in the unknown thinking we have to have it all figured out. But if you have people on your team that carry a really broad skill set, again, it's not about having all the answers. It's about knowing how to think, knowing how to draw on your resources so that you can pull the right tools into the job at the right time. So this is what I'm seeing for your reading, pile number 1. It's a very general reading. I would love to hear from you down below around what you take from it personally. If you did like the reading, consider giving me a thumbs up on the video. If you're called to piles 2 or 3, definitely check those out as well. And until next time, take good care, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Hello, pile number 2, Queen of Wands. So good to see you. Thank you for choosing this reading, this timeless reading of what is opening up in the next 6 months for you. So that could be any time from where you are going forward. So first, we'll pull out a few oracle cards. The first one in your pile says, live in the moment. The second one says, shine some light on it. I love both of those as far as connecting with the Queen of Wands. Full moon in Cancer, a personal issue reaches resolution. Full moons are all about resolutions, manifestations, and so is the Queen of Wands, loving that connection. Oh boy, here's another one. Full moon in Pisces, 2 water sign full moons. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. What is opening up in the next 6 months? Looks like some good stuff. Page of Swords, a little bit of air energy to ground all of this. The 3 of Cups, loving that. And, ooh, the 8 of Swords. What a good one to cap us off here. Okay, so pile number 2, Queen of Wands. This is your spread of cards. And I love, as I said, I love the full moon connection with the Queen of Wands, where the Queen of Wands, I mean, this is a woman who knows how to use her power. She knows she's got power. She knows it works. She knows its effectiveness. She knows its limitations. She knows her power. She knows it. She's watched herself use it many times. And she can conjure up a delightful moment from within her. That energy can flow from within her. And it feels like what's opening most for you in these next 6 months is knowing your power. And that does entail getting to know it, as far as how do you build it? How do you focus it? What depletes it? Where are your pitfalls as far as where you give it away, where you give your power away? You know, that's a lot of where I see this piece coming into it, is a lot, so much, almost all, I would say, of where we give our power away is in our story. It's in our story about why we can't, and why we haven't, and why it's not working, and why it probably won't work. Those stories, they keep us tied and incapable, because we believe them. We believe that they're true. And it feels like part of possibly what these full moon manifestations are somewhat taking off the blindfold and being able to see things in a different perspective, which is very, very much what this is hopefully signifying, as far as Page of Swords, like a new idea. A brand new idea, maybe a lot of new ideas, like a whole bouquet of new ideas. And those are very much going to be able to replace these old ideas around why I can't, or why I haven't, or why I should have done it different. Nothing should be different. It was all exactly on schedule and how it needed to be. And so much of this can keep us, like I said, bound and stuck inside of ourselves, cutting us off from connection, cutting us off from living in the moment. And I feel like this right here, this is a picture of someone who knows how to connect. Because connecting with our inner power and connecting with other people, it's the same exact process. So as we unblock ourselves from connection by releasing some of these stories, by possibly downloading some new stories that shine light on how false some of these stories really have been for us, you know, I see this as a lot of like, every time you are able to gain perspective on an old story and recognize that's been played out, that's tired, I'm good, I'm kind of bored telling this story. I feel like I've done that a few times where I'm like, I'm just bored telling this story. It's not even fun to tell anymore. I've told it so many goddamn times. And in that moment, you set yourself free. You set yourself free to realize that, like, you really don't even have to tell a story. Stories certainly aren't how you do this. You know, that's how this comes from connection. This comes from being inside yourself, being inside your energy, hooking up with your power. And where do you do that? Inside the moment. That's the only place that can ever happen. The only place you can ever flow magic like this is from inside the moment. That feels really good. And I do also see like new people coming into your world as far as like heart to heart type connections that are somewhat helping you to hold up the mirror and help you kind of slide the blindfold off a little bit and see if there are some truths that maybe you could hold in a different way to better connect, to shine some light on what is truly true for you, and not just what has been true in the past, but what do you ultimately want to be true? You know, one example that comes to mind is I've practiced the thought a lot, I am so easy to love. And I'm going to say about 51% of the time I believe that's true, and still for 49% of the time I don't believe that it's true, that I'm easy to love. I have a different belief that I'm working on letting go of that says I'm hard to love. It's really hard to love me. And I'm practicing the new belief, the new thought, I am so easy to love, because that's what I want to be true. So I practice it, I pour my effort into it, I pour my energy, my attention, my focus into it on purpose, because I want my power to manifest and amplify around that thought. And I see a new amplification, a new culmination point happening in the next 6 months as far as realizing your power and seeing the true depth of it and what it's really capable of, and witnessing almost like the functionality of your power, and how every time you're able to set yourself free a little bit more from an old story that's keeping you stuck, you watch your power surge one more time, bigger, brighter, over and over again, until you're convinced that you are 100% the owner of this life force, of this power that is the divine flowing through you at all times. Pile number 2, this has been your reading. I hope you've enjoyed it. I am so excited for you in your next 6 months. If you feel called to check out piles 1 or 3, I encourage you to do that. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a like. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And until next time, I do hope that you take really good care of yourselves, and so will I. Hello, pile 3, 7 of Cups. What is opening for you these next 6 months? I would say right off the bat, it's anybody's guess. I think you got options. You have multiple pathways of opening in front of you where you're literally standing. I see a crossroads with a sign with multiple different directions pointed in all different directions, and they all seem pretty good. And which one are you gonna choose? And so that is super, super duper exciting, I think. And so we're gonna start with adding some oracle cards to that. So first up, the light as good as we can on this guy. Notice the miracles. Ooh, that's a really pretty card too. Got the dogs looking up at the sky with us and the moon. Notice the miracles. I love that, for adding that to the 7 of Cups. Take care of yourself. Ooh, I can feel where that's headed. Prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus. It's good news. Maybe. New moon in Scorpio. Work through your fears. Oh, that's nice. And then some tarot cards to add to this. 4 of Pentacles. The World. Oh gosh, wow. And the Knight of Swords. All right, so here are your cards. Pile number 3, 7 of Cups. Oh, I love the order of these, and I kind of want to just follow it around to like kind of tell a story. So first things first, when we're faced with a lot of choices, I love this advice to look up, and almost do like a meta meditation where You start with your awareness around yourself, and I can feel divine love encircling myself and wishing the best for myself and all living creatures who might live inside me. Lord only knows. And then you zoom out your awareness from there as far as covering your household with it, and then covering your community with it, and then covering your state and your country and your world and your solar system and your galaxy and your universe and all the universes, all the dimensions of time, space, reality, all the things that have ever come before, all the things that will ever come in the future, the all. So step number one, rather than even trying to evaluate which choice is the right choice for me, take a second to step back and really think about how large the big picture really is, and to see what that does to possibly set the decision or the turning point that you're at, to set it down into some context. It probably feels a little bit smaller after zooming out your awareness. The next step on the path, I would say this is also great advice. Take care of yourself. So often we get this feeling, this vibe going on where we don't know what to choose because we are factoring in all kinds of opinions and other people's wishes, other people's advice, other people's reactions to us. We're factoring in a lot of things that have nothing to do with ourselves, and yet we're trying to make a personal decision over here. So it's not that you can't care about how your actions and how your decisions are going to affect other people. I think that's very compassionate to think about things like that. So you're not wrong by any means, but at the same time, it's a prioritization. It's not a free-for-all on everybody's well-being is weighted equally. You kind of got to be the 51% shareholder that says, like, if everybody is deadlocked and we don't know what to do, we're going to do what works best for me. We're going to follow what I feel is most aligned with my personal energy. And at that point, again, I would imagine things feel a lot simpler on the decision front maybe, and a little bit more complicated on the relationship front. Like, how would I even tell that person that I'm not going to do what they told me I should do? Like, those are complications maybe, but the decision itself is clear. And that feels like when you prioritize even just 51%, ownership goes to your own self and your own well-being, I think everything gets a lot more clear. And that probably is a lot of what's happening here, this like new moon, dawning of a new age kind of energy, where we have Scorpio and Taurus, which are on two ends of like one sister sign combo. So they're always opposite in the sky. And we have a new moon in each of them. So here I'm seeing like, this is a place of taking back your own power, which again is kind of what we're doing over here. We're recognizing where we fit in to the bigger picture, and we're recognizing that, it may not be that our care is more important than other people's, but in terms of our responsibility, it is. We are the only one on this entire planet who is responsible for taking care of us. So if we're not doing it, nobody is. And a lot of taking good care of yourselves or putting you in that 51% ownership seat has to do with how much of your power are you holding right now? How much of your power do you own, and how much of your power resides with other people? Because if they're the ones holding, 90% of your power, you really don't have a choice. There really is a lot of confusion around what to do, because what you want probably conflicts with the majority shareholder in the power decision of like, what do we even get to choose here? They have majority say, they get to decide what's right, and it doesn't line up with what I want. And that's where the conflict is coming from. But if you're holding your power, at least 51% of it, again, there is no conflict. You are responsible for getting to decide the outcome of your life. And that is like I personally look at my life as my greatest masterpiece. I've made a lot of pieces of art. I've built a few businesses. I've worked in many mediums as far as creating in this physical realm. And my greatest masterpiece I've ever made is myself, are the choices that I make about my life on a day-to-day basis. And I take great pride in what those choices are. And I think about, this masterpiece that is me, and then trying to hand over the paintbrush to somebody else to start making choices. And I just no, it's my masterpiece. And so there's a power question here where I think either you're right on the beginning, or it is about to start unfolding, where a new age is dawning, where you are going to be in the driver's seat of owning your own power. And again, when you are, it doesn't really feel like this, because it's not a question of should I do this or should I do this? Which one do you want? What do you want? What feels best to you? What feels most aligned to you? What feels most exciting to you? Most valuable to you? Which one gets your juices flowing the most? And then it's not so much I have 8 equal choices. There's probably 1 or 2 that stand out that, again, make it a lot simpler to get to decide. So then we come down to this, and this I think is a funny picture to kind of add on to everything that we've said here, where this version is very concerned with physical security. So I have a feeling this is also playing its part as far as especially on the tourist end of prosperity lies ahead and a new age dawning in terms of this combination of your power. There's part of you that does not want to give up the way that you are currently finding security. And that is also part of the confusion around, I don't know what to choose, because I don't know how to get what I want and keep my bankroll going at the same time. And probably you have to pick one or the other, and that's probably part of the confusion that's there. And all I can say is that this and this is a nice combo to encourage you to think about what you're giving up and what you're getting. So yes, you might be somewhat secure in your current right now experience, but is it exhilarating to live that life? Because it could be. It could be exhilarating. You could wake up in the morning feeling excited to be alive, excited to get to do your work for another day. Yes, I woke up, I'm still alive. I get to wake up and I get to live another day on this planet. That's what it can feel like. So do you have that? Because I get that, the bills are paid and that feels kind of nice, but it isn't everything. And there is more to it. And I see this Knight of Swords, this is a guy who knows what he wants and he knows how to get there. And he knows how to put one foot in front of the other so well that he's running. And so that's what I see. I see a level of readiness that is already there, and a choice between, do you want to keep your current level of comfort, or do you want to truly hold your power and have everything, be everything? So that's how I see your reading for pile number 3, 7 of Cups. You got some choices ahead of you, but maybe they're not as complicated as you originally thought. That is your reading for this day. If you found value in it, I would invite you to think about leaving a comment, tell me about it, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I got all kinds of stuff over there that is full of love that I felt like sharing. And until next time, dear friends, I do hope you'll take really good care of yourselves, and so will I.